Huzzah.
Okay. Yeah, we're live on the we're live to no one. It's not being uploaded. It's not being streamed anywhere.
We're live to me, myself, and Alex.
Yeah, we're live on the YouTube, and we're not on Twitch. Thank goodness. Okay. So before we get too far into this little broadcast,
Indeed.
for anyone watching this is a side episode of Return of the Arclord. It's titled episode 2.5, but this technically takes place before majority of like the events of episode 2. This
maybe
is
like 1.7.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
This is pretty much this was an idea from Mel here, who wanted to like kind of expand on some of the other stuff going on at the camp among the Manymen. So this is going to take place a week or two before the other PCs, which is Laverna, played by Shailene, Dieter, played by Streaky, and Daphne, played by Oracle, before they show up along with Praise for the Wasteland, the Knoll woman that was sent out to look for help, and Anarian, who was Daphne's butler.
Fucking rich people, they get their fucking murder butlers.
Dude, one of my favorite things that happened in the last session was I use these, they're loud, but I'll be in the front. It was so good.
Yeah, I completely made that up on the spot. I'm like, you know what, this is very funny.
It was beautiful. It was great.
I had absolutely no intention for Anarian to get involved in any fighting whatsoever, but now I'm going to be building him like a barbarian, I think.
Nice. Really, a barbarian? I was thinking monk.
Yeah.
Monk? No.
I think it's a lot funnier that he's a barbarian, no?
Yeah, it is way funnier.
Either barbarian or like a magus or something like that. Like.
Ooh,
oh, nice. Yeah.
Maybe I might lean towards magus. But yeah, so that's that. That was completely non-intentional, and then you guys kind of like, well, Anarian, what can you do in a fight? I'm like, well, I don't want Anarian to just go, oh, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
That'd be lame. I'm like, well, you know what? I'll make him a badass. Why not?
I love the idea that he's a barbarian or a barbarian adjacent. That's so good.
Anytime, you'll notice this, anytime I'm ever like given an option to like either like, I don't know, make like a normal like choice of like, don't expect too much or whatever, between like something like that or absolutely escalating and doing something weird. I'm almost always gonna pick escalation and making the person weird as fuck, or just like doing something crazy.
Fair and correct choice, actually.
Exactly.
I'm pretty
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the two players you're talking to have the same tendency. Yeah. At least I know I do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pull up the Foundry tabletop just in case we do some rolls. I don't think we will really, but maybe I'll ask for a couple rolls just for fun.
Sounds good.
If it'll launch, that'd be cool. This is like very like off the cuff.
Yeah.
I don't have any structure to this at all. I think this would be just fine to do like.
That's what the like offline ones are supposed to be, just kind of chill.
Chillax them.
Yeah.
Foundry, please launch. I'm gonna cry.
You can do it, Foundry. You can do it. We believe in you.
I don't know why my voice broke so bad right there. Like,
Foundry really hurt you in that moment. Yeah.
Please, Lord.
Come on, Foundry.
Please, baby.
You can do it.
There we go. Finally launched. Now I gotta get the game up. Okay. So while I'm doing this, Mel, why don't you talk a little bit about the brain rot you've had over the last week or so?
Yeah. No. So there's, first of all, there was 7 days that we went through of Crow's character Adros and my character Ina working in the Manymen camp, and the possibilities of what that could be are endless, because it seems like most of the daily work was figuring out, helping people unpack, bringing caravans in, all of that. But then there are the nights for things to get a little hectic. And, I think it would be fun for Anne to be starting to experiment with her alchemical stuff and starting to mix poisons. And what would that look like? And can she even remember the formulas? And how would she know? So she's decided she's going to test on herself, which, it's going to have some interesting consequences.
Testing your poisons on yourself. And Mel, why don't you tell me how well that went for Anne?
Well, we did it for 2 nights. The first night, she reduced herself to half hit points. But she was fine after that. She just got a good night's sleep and got those back. But the second night, she didn't think that the arsenic worked, but she did find the I have it right in front of me somewhere in this little note set. The spear frog poison was a little sharper than she thought it was gonna be. And yeah, it knocked her out. Knocked her out cold. She almost died. Like there was a nat 1 a survival check that happened in there, a recovery check, excuse me, that happened in there that scared the living daylights out of me. I was like, oh no, if any of these rolls go wrong, she's fucked.
Super good.
And then the question came up, do I tell Scrub at that point? Do I just pretend that on paper didn't happen?
I also want to, because I think this is hilarious, I want to point this out, that you were kind of logging this and like showing me the notes, and you were doing this as a distraction from your mother-in-law that was visiting you IRL. You were literally poisoning yourself in fantasy to get away from... It
was way more fun.
Getting away from the MIL.
You get somebody who lives on the other coast that shows up on your doorstep with no warning, and social anxiety go burr. And so we hide in fantasy, no matter how dark said fantasy might be.
Yeah.
It was actually really funny because when I rolled the 4, so spear frog poison does 1d4 poison damage for each round that it's up, and I'd rolled 2s, 3s, 1s. I had not yet rolled a 4, and on the last round, when she had 4 hit points left, I rolled a fucking 4, and I just started cackling out loud, and Hubs and mother-in-law both looked at me like, don't worry about it, it's not important, go on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just enjoying my funny math rocks.
Exactly. Like this little diamond can do more damage than you think. This little pyramid.
Exactly.
And the other brain rot was Isaac was real pissy about the fact that Anne didn't tell him her real name. And that was something that I was like, that would bother Ina a little bit. Like, because he's, at the very least, at the end of the 7 days, he was still snarky about it. So I'm curious if that was something that escalated via a conversation over those 7 days, or if it was something that they just hadn't addressed, or what. And that led to writing out basically Anne's side of a hypothetical conversation on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 topics, one of which was her name.
Yeah, we will be covering that. I think that would be a good opportunity to talk more to Isaac.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk to Adros too.
Yeah, and we've got Crow here for Adros's. There's a fun interaction we've got planned for Mel and Crow here.
Can't tell, but I just waved. I don't have a camera. But
Hi. The little wave. Oh my god. There was a quick little, speaking of escalations, there was a quick little thing where Daphne in episode 2 asked, oh god, it's part Raven, are we gonna have to worry about shiny things going missing? And in that moment I was like, Anne would have experience with this. Yes, because she's got tiny shiny things in her area.
it is the perfect size for this creature.
It's the perfect size for a little theft to happen. And if the nocturnal part of the ocelots portion of Jezebel comes out, and Bat, no shot. And I actually have an idea for something that I want to do to befriend Jezebel, but I also don't know if there's a we'll do it in the session. But yeah, I'm excited.
All right. Let's see. I have
Also,
the game up. The link is in the side chat. You guys can look. You can join.
What up, boss man?
I also need to have it pulled up on my end, so I can be on, the screen if I decide to swap over to it. Jeez, I tried to say swap and switch at the same time, and said swatch like a schmuck.
That happens to me so often, because the problem is the best analogy I've ever seen for ADHD was somebody who, those multicolored pens that have like red, green, black around the top of it, and you can click one down based on So somebody was like, most neurotypical people will have a thought and they click one color down and they can use said thought. For people with ADHD, it's like trying to push all of them down at the same time. And trying to use all those thoughts at the same time, which is how mixed up words, at least for me, happen. So I hear you.
Yeah, I definitely do the thing where I'm thinking about something and I accidentally write it down when I'm trying to write about something else. Or I hear someone say something and I write what the last word they said, or something like that.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, those fucking pens were the coolest thing at the school fair. Like,
they were so cool.
Yeah.
they were sick as fuck. Like, holy shit.
You ever seen the really fat ones that have like 8 or 9 colors?
Yes, I remember.
I love those.
I remember like one of the fucking like book nerd girls had like gotten one of those and brought it to school. Like, and I thought it was like the raddest shit ever.
It's great.
I mean, it is the raddest shit ever.
Of course it is.
Yeah, especially when you're like, 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Your range for what's rad is a lot narrower at that age. Streaky's nature check. I love that thing's freaky, man.
That thing is fucked up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a lovely creature.
All right.
It's a lovely creature.
Okay. So Adros, you've actually been at the camp longer than Anne has. You've been here for probably not like a week or anything like that, probably like a couple more days than Anne has been here. Yeah. Long enough for you to like already have kind of gotten used to like the vibe and the feel. And then that's when a couple days later is whenever the unconscious Anne shows up in the camp and Isaac bids you to assist with waking her.
Yeah, just add water.
Yeah, intending to. And one of the things we will address during the campaign is during this little like game as well is while Anne was unconscious, she had experienced a bit of a nightmare, and during that nightmare, she'd heard a strange bird call.
Nightmare burb.
I think I still have that sound effect here. Here it is.
I rolled a 2. Because of course I did.
Yeah, that's plain. So yeah, that bird call. We can talk about that in a bit. But all that happened, and then Anne has an interaction with Isaac for the first time, and Anne is basically decides to stay at the camp to, in her own way, to pay back for being rescued, being saved. Although Isaac is sort of a different kind of creature that you've never really had to deal with before, I imagine. A different kind of individual, someone who seemingly has some great responsibilities and ideals that he holds. And so, let's see. Let me go back and look at our chat, and let me see what I think would be sort of the first thing that kind of happens. Da-da-da. You know, why don't we actually start with like the day after, and you have like sort of, you know, the day after you've been brought to the camp. You're still bedbound because your knee is still a little injured, but you are, you know, still able to move around and whatnot. Today's feeling a little better, but Adros comes to check up on you. So you are still new to this camp. You don't really know what's going on. You don't really know anything about Adros or Isaac or anything like this at this point. In Adros, you're obviously like, sort of like someone who's checking up on people throughout the camp. Maybe this is part of your like morning routine to make sure people are, you know, doing okay after like a night of resting and things like that. So why don't you guys kind of describe to me what that interaction would be like?
Well, I suppose Idris wouldn't. There's no real to knock because it's a tent door, but
Yeah.
somewhat call out, stick his cane gently through the opening to make it visually obvious. Well, as also like send them, Miss Ina, I am coming in.
Oh. Good morning.
Yeah, sort of just gently enter through the flap door of the tent.
And she'd have her arm like over her head, but because she recognizes the voice, she would respond and not, you know, try to punch your lights out right away. Just be this. Good morning.
Yes, morning. How's your leg doing? And also, anything else?
It seems to be a bit better. I don't think I ever said thank you to you, by the way.
It is fine.
Well, thank you. Anyway, it still hurts, but I don't know. I'd like to try to put some weight on it. I don't like staying in bed for too long. I get restless.
Is fair. It's like Idris will sort of come, examine, check bandages, stuff like that, make sure, you know, didn't come completely undone.
Mm-hmm.
Did that, or it's not really a, what's the term? Not a splint, but just like the wrapping to make sure the swelling is down.
Yeah.
Like pressure bandage kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I think she'd like swivel, sit up, kind of scoot back, kind of, you know, do the like bending it forward and backward to move the joint. So what do you think, Doc?
Should be up within, or at least not sprinting, of course, but you should be at least walking within the next 3 to 5 days ish.
You think it's
At
gonna
the
be that long? Shit.
I am being on the side. I am erring on the side of caution. It depends. I've met some people that heal from a broken leg in less than a week, and some people who take a bad fall and can barely walk for a month. I don't know with you.
Fair enough. Would you be too mad at me if I tried to stand up right now?
Adris will pass you his cane first. Either just like offer the head of it. It's like, if you're
what does it look like? What does she see?
It's a relatively simple cane with a just simple iron head, shaped like a serpent with a closed mouth.
Ooh, this is real nice.
Thank you.
All right, I'll give it a shot. And she'll put the cane down with her dominant hand and try to scoot up with her non-dominant hand and stand up.
Let's see.
Can I be Adris? Can Adris be prepped to catch her if she falls?
Yeah, why don't we'll mechanically treat this as an aid action. So why don't you roll have you roll like either medicine or athletics or anything like that to like be on standby to like catch or, you know, anything like that?
Well, it's gonna be medicine.
Okay. So so basically you're going to roll that. Let me bring this back over to the
Check
game screen
normal.
here. You're going to roll that, and if you beat the DC with your roll, Crow, then you'll give a circumstance bonus to Mel's roll. So if you beat it, if you
Nice.
succeed, then you'll give her a +1. But if you critically succeed, then you'll give her a +2.
How fun.
Ooh,
The DC for this roll is going to be 10.
Well,
nice.
assurance, go burn.
Okay. You succeed. So, Anne, you will roll a. Let's see. I'm gonna have you roll a fortitude save, and you are going to get a +1 circumstance bonus from Adros's aid.
Okay.
The DC is
Question on this.
Yeah.
You said last session that every time you ask for a perception check, just assume that it's blind. Does that apply to other checks as well, or is it just perception?
Just perception. There will be times where, like, I'll want you to roll a check and I want to be blind, and I'll delineate that for you guys.
Okay.
Like, there is a lot of times whenever you guys are rolling stealth checks, a lot of stealth checks are also secret, but not all.
That makes sense. Okay.
And also, I think, like, some... Oh, whenever you guys are rolling your like, recall knowledge checks, like, during combat, those are also secret, because if you critically fail, I am obligated to feed you false information.
You got it, boss man.
Nice.
But yeah. Fortitude saves and things like that are rolled out on the table. Okay, so 17.
Not bad.
You succeed.
I'll take that.
You stand up and you just start to put some weight on your leg, where you can feel, like, the pressure in your knee, and immediately you can feel, like, the pain of it, but it doesn't rise to, like, a sort of uncomfortable or, like, impossibly to, like, you know, like, intolerable level.
Yeah.
It's enough pain to, like, remind you that your knee is fucked up and you can't be doing anything, like, you know, anything to exert yourself too much, which means that you're not going to be running around for a while. But as soon as you sort of apply, like, the use of the cane, you kind of, like, lean on it a bit, the pain is mitigated by quite a lot. You're able to, like, stand up and walk with the cane quite simply.
That thing helps a lot, doesn't it?
They are designed to entertain.
I like your sense of humor, Adros. She'll take a few steps and then make a tiny lap and then hand it back to him. She'll reach for her musket, which is about as long as the cane. She'll double check that it's not loaded.
Yeah, you clear the chamber. You don't have any shot or any, like, cartridges or anything like that loaded.
Yeah, so she'll make sure that it's empty, and then she'll sort of substitute that, and the stock, so the part that would rest against your shoulder, to the floor, barrel in hand.
Yeah.
I think this will work. Oh. I think she would look over at Adros.
Adros is still a bit baffled at using the gun as a cane. He doesn't know. You know, actually, would Adros know what guns are functionally?
You are pretty close that you might know.
Yeah.
We'll put it up to a roll here. What could you roll? Why don't
would it be like?
Yeah, roll like a society or
warfare. One of the two.
Society or crafting.
Let's see. Those are equivalent, so roll society.
Ooh.
23.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'll say that is probably a success. Probably not like a critical success, but a success. Yeah, you recognize what this thing is. It is a well, it is a weapon of a kind. Not like the weapons that you've trained with in Ekinus. This is This is a, well...
Bit more of a higher class weapon.
Yeah, this is a feat of engineering that you're looking at right now that is being used as a walking cane.
No, I'm not the most knowledgeable about firearms, but are you sure that is safe? Just on gunpowder residue alone, that could it well.
Anne would just smile, and she would say, "I think if I can put gunpowder on my steak and live, then this should be all right. But I also clean this real well every day, so residue should be pretty minimal."
All right then.
Don't get me wrong, I'd rather not use this long term, but if I can find a big stick or something, that's probably better. But for now, I care more about being up out of bed than I care about needing to clean it a little extra tonight.
Well, it is still obviously a little bit baffled. Ignis, because from the book, Ignis does have some, working ship with Alkenstar on bigger projects. Those are only heard about from deep in the thing of like, oh yeah, your boss's boss's boss worked with somebody's boss's boss's boss. So it's like fucking baffling to him still.
And would it be like siege weapons too because of
actually,
the flesh forges?
Actually, it's the viscera suits. Not to go on.
Viscera suits.
Imagine,
what are those?
Imagine space suits for meat.
That's wild.
Scabs wear.
Okay.
So the people who try and help beat back the fucking flesh Chernobyl.
Noted. Okay.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite bits of lore. Because the flesh Chernobyl wants to eat you.
It's nicknamed the Awful, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think. So what does Adros say? Because I'm curious if Ina could get him talking about this at all.
I don't know. Alkenstar engineering it's always surprising.
Oh, what kind of Alkenstar engineering you seen before?
Bits and pieces. Once saw a traveling merchant with a small clockwork rabbit that could hop and jump. The scabs, of course. The little things. I saw a firearm before once, but wasn't really I saw one fire. That was quite a demonstration of terrifying might.
Yeah, Curl, I'd probably say that you have like a commanding officer that has like one that's like displayed in his office that he like brings out to shoot every once in a while.
Maybe the person Adros fucking went to request leave shit, you know?
Yeah. While you're talking, she would have hobbled over and would have start putting on her holster, actually, which is where her pistols are. One is her clan pistol, which is quite a bit more ornate because that's like a personal dwarven thing that you make in Danganhold. And then the other would be a more standard issue dueling pistol. But she's like these ones, the smaller ones, or bigger ones like this? And she'd hold up the the musket.
The smaller ones, closer to the, a bit more of the art piece variety of the first, like pointing at the clan pistol.
Yeah, she'd pull it out of the holster and double check that there's. Are there safeties on these weapons? I don't think so, right?
They're flintlocks.
I mean, probably not IRL, but in lore, like they've come up with like all kinds of like innovations in like engineering.
They can make robot that.
If you think that your guns would have a safety on it, then yeah, sure, why not?
I think they would. So number one, as an officer or as a shield marshal, right? She would. The chance of you getting disarmed, you want to have a little bit of a barrier to that. So yeah, there would be safeties on. So she would just make sure that her safety on her clan pistol's on and would hand it to Adros. Kind of like this one.
Yes, quite a bit. A bit more filigreed. Obviously, it was an officer's tool. Half there is a weapon of war and half is a statement of status.
That tracks.
And it's like it will very gently handle and examine this gun, sort of with the in a sort of almost analytical eye, trying to fully understand how these things work.
Yeah, I would say just by handling it, you can feel that it is much denser than it looks. You can definitely tell there's like a sort of amount of contraptions inside of it that are like hidden inside of like the body of this weapon that are, you know, unseen. So the kind of engineering that could go on the inside of this thing, you could probably never even really imagine how it works. But the mechanism inside, you can kind of, you might like try to like try like the trigger, or, you know, mess with the like, I don't know, like the cylinder on like the revolver, or like the black powder pans and stuff like that. They all have like a very satisfying click to them, as you hear like the different parts inside sort of like move in unison.
Very manufactured. The
Thank you.
tolerances must be. He's like, it just half mutters it, half speaks it, like, because he's still examining this thing.
Yeah.
I suppose, Scrub, would you like me to make a crafting check to figure out a bit more on how this thing works?
Yeah, if you'd like to, go ahead.
And I think seeing Adros's interest, and really, I think Anne trained people, and really like seeing like genuine interest in the craft.
Yeah.
So as soon as she does see interest, she would comment on it. But
Yeah, that is a 19 crafting check.
woo!
Yeah, I'll say that succeeds. You're kind of getting the idea that, because this is he's holding like a revolver, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the clan pistol would be closer to a revolver. Yeah.
Okay. You're holding this clan pistol, Adros, and you're feeling the weight. You're feeling like you kind of like test the grip by holding it, and you can feel there was a lot of like thought that went into the idea of like someone who is going to be like, you know, actually using this thing. Mm-hmm. Like the ergonomics, the functionality of all of like the pieces on it. You can even see that the sights are well lined and have on like the sort of like the front end, there is a kind of like semi not really like glowing, but kind of like illuminated, like, you know, front sight on the front of the barrel. That like there is a lot of like ideas and thoughts and innovations put into this one little, you know, this piece of engineering that can fit in the palm of your hand. You know, not completely, but you can hold it with one hand very comfortably. And
she would have a fair bit of pride about that, because dwarves, in her family at least, make their own clan pistols. It's a rite of passage into adulthood. So she made that by hand.
Tell me, and because Scrub, you said that it had a sort of like a little bit of an illuminate indicator at the sights, correct?
Yeah.
Is that a chemical reaction? That small, as like Adros will very gently point at the sight, and like that little dot or whatever it is. Is that a chemical reaction, or is that magical?
It sure is a chemical. Magical, we can't really rely on magic in Alkenstar. So for anything involving a sort of mixture of stuff that probably looks a little magical, we use alchemy. So that is a mixture of magnesium and something else that would make magnesium glow that I forget about right now, but it's fine. Anne would know.
Wow, my amazing's broken. My amazing's broken.
You don't know. Adros is a doctor. He knows a bit about alchemy, you know, passively. He's a stupid. He knows, you know.
Yeah,
like
you could probably just stop at alchemy, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, probably magnesium and something else.
Yeah, something else that'll make it glow. Yeah, naturally.
Yes.
See, you get it. And like Anne would just say, like, my mother is she's an alchemist, so a lot of what she and my pa do is work with dwarves that are crafting firearms and are adding customizations. So some of them are like a lit scope like that. Some of them are counterweighting stuff. Some of them are making sure that there's some kind of a reaction when the bullet is fired. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. But yeah, alchemy merged with good old firearms. If you want, when I clean these, I break them all apart and you can see all the pieces. If you want later tonight, I can.
I would love to watch. That would be immensely interesting.
Of course. I'd be happy to show you.
The closest to this I've ever seen. Something of this, well, detail has been, well, there are, rotary crossbows that are somewhat, well, as Adros will do a little side-to-side gesture with his hand, they are, in the way that a rotary crossbow is kind of hard to function just at all, no matter what you do. They are, well, beautiful in machining, but, well, so in function.
They can be a bit unreliable. So can these, honestly. If you don't maintain them, if you don't know how to keep up on them, the black powder that we use, and she would pull a little vial of it off of her bandolier. The black powder that we use, this stuff is corrosive, and if you don't clean it off your gun, you can rust your gun. If you just let it build up in there, it can get in the way of all the little parts inside. It's important to keep them clean.
Interesting. What makes sense is like Adros will still very gently holding this thing, since to him it is both a very dangerous object and very finely machined.
I should also...
As you should with any gun, just saying. Yeah. Handle carefully.
Yeah.
As Anne is kind of like describing like the sort of like the dangerous properties of black powder, Adros, you are kind of like reminded of like something Anne said earlier that just now kind of like hits you as like, what? Where she said that earlier, if I can put it on my steak and eat it, then it can't be that bad.
Wait, how? You said it was corrosive. How corrosive? You said you could put it on your food.
Yeah, actually. It's a funny little history about black powder. That's originally when it was brought to the dwarves in Dongenhold, it was a food preservative. It wasn't something that people really knew the properties of yet. So yeah, it's got. I mean, if you want to try it, and she'll just like uncork the little vial, and just if you want to try it, you feel free.
Thank you. No.
And I think she would just like take just a little bit and eat it. And it's described as a like sort of sharp black pepper almost. It's kind of peppery. It's not for everybody, but it's something I grew up with. I don't know how much of me is black powder, but anybody tries to kill me, they might get surprised.
Yeah, just as like an aside, black powder in this world was, it was discovered in Tian Sha. Obviously, it's kind of like similar to real life, where in China they use black powder for like alchemy and fireworks and things like that. But in this part of the world, black powder was discovered by the Dongenhold dwarves, the Kulinet dwarves, that used it as a preservative for their food. They discovered that it had properties that could keep their food from going bad, kind of like salting, because there's salt in it. But it also gave it like it also seasoned it a bit. So the Dongenhold dwarves used black powder for a long time to preserve their food, because they had to like have food preserved for a long time due to the fact that on the surface there were two fucked up evil wizards that were trying to kill each other and ruining the land. And so the Dongenhold dwarves had like closed the doors of Dongenhold for what they thought was going to be the last time, and had to like find some creative ways to survive the longevity of the war. And so they discovered black powder, and it wasn't until later that they discovered the sort of by accident the explosive nature of black powder and how they could use it.
I have to imagine that it's kind of like those that maybe this is Mel, but I also think it could be fun as lore. Like they only found out because of like those you see like cooking shows where they sprinkle something over the pan and it makes it flare up and
They're
flame.
doing like a flambe, yeah.
If they were like cooking over an open flame for whatever reason and they sprinkled black powder over it and it exploded.
My thought was like some sort of barbecue situation.
Yeah.
Where you just like fucking barbecuing a skewer or a steak or something that it.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, they discovered it after they got a little suspicious of the dwarven means of cooking that they called express flambe.
I love that. That's perfect. Listen, I mean, it's great on meat. It's great on some roasted vegetables. Whenever you wanna, if you ever want to try it, you're welcome to it. I can make this every day.
How do you make it?
I learned from my mom, and she would kind of go through. She'd pull out the different chemicals involved from her alchemy kit, which she wears as like a bandolier of vials. You can see it in the art. And yeah, she would just say, well, put a little bit of this and a little bit of this, sprinkle it together, wait 12 minutes or so, and pour the result out onto this cloth, let it dry, shake it off, black powder.
It almost seems comedically simple, yet for such extreme... The start of a large piece of engineering and discovery.
I mean, aren't all disciplines kind of like that, kind of simple in its smaller pieces, right? I mean, you're a doctor. I'm sure there are parts of the body that are very simple to you.
The basic foundation is always simple. You cut someone open, figure out what's wrong.
Sarah, that was Mela. Anne would also be laughing, but her laugh sounds a little different. It's more of a... I suppose so. Well, thank you again for this. And I usually clean my guns around dinner time.
Interesting. I shall, if I'm not busy with someone, if no one has been injured, I will come around. It seems...
That'd be great.
Fascinating topic.
I'm excited to have somebody to talk to about it. It's been a while. It's been a while since I trained anybody. I woke up in here and I haven't left.
I should give you some food.
Oh, no, I'm where... Can we step outside? She'd just like to see where the fuck she is, because all she's seen is this like canvas for the last 24 hours or so.
That's fair.
Because where she went down, she had gotten out of the Mono Wastes, right? So, but she was in the like desert in next north of them.
Yeah, you were just on like the fringes of the Mono Waste, heading towards the Ustrati River.
Yeah.
You had went down like right on the other side of the Ustrati River, which basically puts you like right on the other side into next proper.
Gotcha. So yeah, I mean, I have no idea how far we've traveled from where I last remember being.
Do you know?
There's a lot I don't know.
Yeah, as like Adros will like sort of gently lead forward, push open the canvas door, sort of politely hold it open. Do you remember where you passed out? Or...
I remember it was by some water. I remember there was some lightning.
At the mention of lightning, Adros will almost freeze for a second.
Ooh, does Anne catch that?
Well, that's the question.
Yeah, how would you like to determine this, Scrub?
Make a secret perception check.
All right.
And then would I roll deception or something, or?
Are you trying to deceive Anne?
Probably not. Like, this is just something, this is purely reactionary.
Okay. Let me take a look at some of your stats, Adros, and see if I might Okay. I'll say that Anne, you just barely succeed here, and you just catch like Adros is kind of like in the middle of saying something as you were like kind of describing, and you mentioned lightning, and Adros kind of like hangs on like the end of like his sentence. You don't really notice like a lot of like because he's wearing like a mask and he's wearing like dark shaded glasses. You don't really like see much of like a visible reaction to Adros like on his face or anything like that. But it's almost like he just kind of it's like he gets lost in a thought after you mention lightning. And then he kind of continues on with whatever he was going to ask you.
Gotcha. I think Anne files that away a little bit. She probably won't say anything about it right this moment. Yeah.
Well, if there was water, and I presume it looked like normal water.
Kinda. I usually the water I see
multicolored.
It was a little shimmery. I'm going based on the assumption here that like downstream it wouldn't be nearly as colorful as it would be in Quantium.
Yeah, it was you could still like see like the sort of like the darker colors of like the spectrum, like dark purples and blues, and some other like murkier colors. But yeah.
It's pretty opaque. It had some blues and violets in there mixed in with the silt, but it was mostly just silt, brown.
Oh, so probably the Ostradi River. It would be insane if you had gotten to the Miasmir. He somewhat giggles to himself in the way of like, there's no functional way that Ina could have, like, how in the world? But
I think she would just sort of tilt her head because she has no idea what the Miasmir is.
My apologies. So, as Adris will point, I'll assume Adris has, with that survival training, has a good grasp of where he would be according to general directions, and points east, vaguely in the direction of Quantium as well.
Yeah.
Well, Quantium's large body of water, that is not the Elimian River, is the Miasmir. And it is one of the most beautiful bodies of water to ever exist, I would argue. Imagine a myriad of color, a pure kaleidoscope, melted and put into the river.
Is that safe?
No.
All right, that sounds about right. But it's pretty.
Fish walked out of it.
Walked?
Adris will nod.
God damn it. She just put her hands over her eyes. It's like, there's some weird fucked up shit out here.
Adris will give a soft little giggle to that.
She thinks this, but she doesn't say it. She thinks, speaking of weird fucked up shit, she would just sort of peek around to Jezebel on your shoulder. How's
probably sleeping? I'll keep it real.
She's like hanging upside down, like off the back of his like his like cloak jacket, like his cloak, like hanging off his back.
Cute. Wait, hanging upside down, like by its like ocelot paws is like gripped into the feathers in the back of the. That's amazing. Okay, I love that. So she wouldn't have seen that at first necessarily, and she would look. But where's your little?
As he'll just sort of like turn his back a little. She is very clingy.
She's almost cute like this.
Always cute.
Always cute. Yeah.
Dichotomy of man.
Yeah. I think I would just do that head tilt like she's still very much adjusting to Jezebel, but this is a good way for Ina to see her. How long does she sleep like this usually?
Well, As Idros will sort of, like, tilt his head, sort of shrug. Well, it depends, of course, on how tired she was, and also, well, a large portion of her body is ocelot, and such. She has that, sleeping habit that quite a few house cats do, where, there's a 50-50 shot if they are asleep or not.
Oh, that's fair.
It would usually depends. Sometimes it is 4 hours, sometimes it is 18.
You said she's part fruit bat too, right?
Yes.
Explains the hanging. Huh. So and they're nocturnal too. So is she mostly was it weird that she was awake when we
No,
were?
not really. She enjoys her time. She
Alright.
likes the sunlight on her feathers and fur.
Can I ask how she happened? Like, how'd you? Was she like this when you met her? Did you make her?
Well, Jezebel was a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Really?
Yes. Jezebel was a wounded bird.
Hmm.
Very wounded. Got hit by a stray bolt.
A stray bolt or bullet?
Like a crossbow.
Crossbow. Oh no.
Yes. And I saved her. And, well, we've been friends ever since.
Well, that's good. Was the other animals you used for parts?
They
Or
were.
those? They were already okay. I just had to
Yes,
check.
they were.
she would like giggle a little bit to herself, like, this is so fucking weird.
I would not cut up innocent creatures' parts. That is
Of course not.
just wrong.
Ian's just looking at Adros like, I respect how seriously you take your creed.
I am a doctor. Saving lives is my duty.
What made you decide to? Sorry, go ahead.
They animal, man, anything in between.
Fair. What made you decide to become a doctor?
I was saved. And so, I will save others.
She wants to know more about that, but they also are like standing outside of a tent.
Yeah.
So I respect that. I hope you know that I'm not changing my profession just because you saved me.
Oh, do not worry. I know.
I don't think I'm smart enough for that. I'll be honest.
Oh, believe me, you are evidently smart enough.
My creations just blow up.
Science.
My creations just blow up if I mess up. They don't scream.
Yeah, while you guys are now standing outside the tent now, and you are like kind of looking out over like the camp. There are a lot of strange sights to behold here in this camp. Of course, there's all kinds of different kinds of people here. You see various like humans, Dromar, full orcs. You see Kolo and just other people that are strangely shaped and formed, elongated body parts, additional body parts, strange looking heads. There is, well, a lot of strange people that live out here. But you can see like they're like a lot of them have like a candor of just like general positivity of people like smiling and chatting and going about their business. A lot of like men and women are like carrying around sacks and crates from one place to the other. You hear this like the baying of like horses and riding lizards off in the distance as well.
It's busy here. Are
What?
she would see you. Adros would probably see Ina recoil a little bit, completely involuntarily. That the first like more mutated flesh warp person that she sees, and she would like correct herself in the moment. She'd be like recoil and then try to like shake it off and come back to it. I'm not used to seeing this many types of people. I suppose it's nice. They all seem real happy. How long have you been here?
Few days, about 4, maybe 5.
5.
Not
And anything I should know?
Well, Anna, she quite likes bread. Do be nice to her. Young girl, about yay high as Adris sort of put his hand to like about his middle thigh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's adorable.
Well, you've met Isaac. He's somewhat of a local community leader. A very kind fellow. Let's see. Oh, it is very impolite. Do not, to stare at, as you'll, somewhat very lightly gesture towards the large grouping of people.
Mm-hmm.
A bit, as is normal, don't stare too much at people. Just because they are different from you, normal things.
Yeah, I guess normal's relative, ain't it?
Yes.
Sorry, in Alkenstar, shield marshals aren't very nice to. And she would like lean over and cup her hand over her mouth into Adros's ear and just say, "We call them mutants, and that's not great." I'm quickly realizing. Say again.
The term is flesh warp.
Thank you. I actually wasn't sure what the term was. Thank you so much.
Of course, people call themselves different things. It's most polite to call people by their names, of course.
Of course.
But yes, Iconos is a bit more accepting, if not loving.
What's Iconos like? And I think she would start to. She would look to Adros like, should we go anywhere? Like, is there a breakfast tent? There?
Adros will sort of like. Adros will start walking towards, like, I suppose there'd be just a larger area, probably a larger communal campfire with food, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's like a larger central area with a lot of like tents and chairs and like small tables set up, or like little areas where you can like sit on like kneeling pillows or like rugs or things with like laid out like large open space for people to like kind of bring stuff over to cook or prepare or to eat. Share with the rest of the camp. So you guys start heading in that direction.
What's Ekanus like? I've heard of it. It's where I was told to go, actually. It's where I was headed.
Well, it's lovely. It's like a large body. Everyone knows what they should be doing. As Idris will sort of like stop while still, moving for a moment. There's a sense of community. You will always wake up 6 a.m. sharp with the thumping of the shaping. I still remember when I was a younger boy, I was going on the rooftop run, and one of the older fellows, he might have been an officer, he might have been not, I do not know. He was sleeping in. Evidently, he had a little bit of time off, and did not remember that the rooftop run was on that path that day. I remember just that sheer yell of, "What are you fucking children doing?"
It's a hell of a way to wake up, I suppose.
Oh, you get used to it.
As you guys are like kind of walking towards the like central food area, you can smell like this like very strong scent of like bread being baked. Like
Oh, best
uh,
smell in the
yeah,
world.
there is like a very strong scent of like bread or some kind of flour being cooked. And you can also smell like this strong pungent scent of some kind of like some kind of vegetable or fruit that you've never like quite experienced, and
Hmm.
it's quite strong. It has like this sort of like bitter kind of sour scent to it. And you guys are sort of approaching this, and you see there is like a large like mound in the center of this area that is like smoking, and you can see there are like several like men and women who are like kind of now just like scraping this like mound apart, and you can see there is like a large amount of smoke that's now coming out of this mound as they unearth like these like large like wrapped shapes from this pit, where it seems like they've been like they had burned a lot of like hot coals and covered it up along with whatever they were baking inside of it. This is sort of like a I don't know exactly what it's called, but it's like a desert oven where you basically bake it under the heat of the sand.
That's cool.
And you see them pull out like these large like flat round shapes as they sort of like lay them out onto like this clean cloth laid out next to them, like on the ground, and they unwrap it, and you can see like it. Just to describe it in layman's terms for us, it looks like a giant calzone.
Oh,
Like a giant
sounds so
calzone
good.
that is like wrapped in like this like charred kind of like almost not quite blackened but like darkened bread, and they start to cut it.
Ooh.
And you can see there is like a delicious looking like a line of like green and like sort of like light red sauce that's like kind of running out of like the center of it as they're slicing it up.
There would have been so the smell of the bread would have been like a it would have gone from the to the pungent smell immediately.
Yeah, the smell is like it's kind of oniony, more to like it's like the smell of like like cooked greens,
Oh yeah.
In real life, this is an actual food that I know like the Bedouin people make in Morocco or like northern parts of Africa. This is called biryani.
Ooh.
Biryani. And it's basically like a pizza, but baked in like the ground. Looks really good. But
That sounds so good.
they have like a large one of these. They like cut up into several like slices and pieces, and they start to like sort of like piece them out for you guys to start eating.
And I'd assume Anne would kind of follow Adros into line for food. This smells amazing, actually.
It is quite good.
They do this every morning?
Depends on the ingredients, of course, but yes, it is a large communal cooking. There's plenty of people to feed.
I suppose so. Do you know how many people are here?
Well, scrub would I know? Like,
You've not really had like a large count, but there is at least like, from your rough estimate, at least like a few hundred to 1,000.
quite a few, at least a town's worth.
Wow. I've never seen anything like this. Closest thing I've ever seen to it would probably be some of the people would call them seedier parts of Smokeside and Alkenstar, but they're great people. They're just getting by with what they got. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I was literally just saying one word of they're great people, but they're just poor.
Yeah. for lack of a better term, yeah, unfortunately. And that's that gap, it gets bigger all the time between Skyside and Smokeside. And you, like, her jaw would tense. Like that specific fact about Alkenstar, especially with her mom being from Smokeside, makes her real angry.
Suppose would Adros notice that? Would that be a secret perception check to figure out like noticing that like somewhat anger in there?
Yeah, go for it.
And I wouldn't be hiding it at all.
Do perception, perception check, secret.
You said you're not really hiding it, Anne?
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah, you notice that just like, Anne kind of gets like kind of clenches her jaw and has like a flash of like a serious look in her eyes. She's like kind of reminded of something somewhere else. So.
Well, and by the time we get to the queue, she would, I guess, cheers. And she would take a bite and kind of have breakfast with Adros.
Yeah. You'll see Adros sort of like, the best way to describe it is gently lift up the bottom of the mask a little, and a few somewhat slightly, I don't want to say mummified, but like dried out flower petals will fall from it as he sort of collects them, puts them aside, and starts eating, still under the mask.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, as you start to dig into your food, Adros, you start to feel some stirring on your cape. As Jezebel starts to wake up, and she kind of like crawls around like your neck, towards like like your face, and she starts like like doing the stretching out her like forearms, her paws.
Yeah.
And she goes.
Mm-hmm.
Hungry.
I love her so much.
Adros will like take his chunk, split it in half, and offer the other half to Jezebel.
Yeah, she takes it, and then she starts to she hangs off of like the front of your like cloak now, like hanging down from you, and she starts eating it upside down.
Yeah, Adros sort of like gently lean forward so that if she drops stuff, it's dropped onto the ground and not onto him.
I want to say a collection of like crumbs starts to like form below her. She's like eating.
This is the best mental image. It's just like this bat hanging off somebody's shoulder.
Yeah, bat cat
It's
bird.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, she starts to eat. And she's kind of like casting her glances around, like just around at everybody around. And as you guys are kind of eating now and just sort of like enjoying the meal, and the food tastes delicious. It's like it's much better than you could have ever expected. You can tell there's like a lot of like, obviously like there's a substantial amount of like stuffing inside of this like what is essentially a calzone. And you can definitely taste like a sort of like a very complex like range of like spices and seasonings inside of it. And as you're kind of like eating this food, you guys sort of like hear the sound of like someone like just like noises of people like kind of quietening and just chatting behind you guys. Like kind of like a like something's happening behind you all. And if you guys turn around to look, you guys can see that you can see like the familiar shape of Isaac, who is kind of like walking around to all the people who are like dining, and kind of like you notice him like kind of nod his head towards several people and like share some words with several groups of people, and he finally approaches you two, or three rather. You three, and sort of stands over where you guys are like sitting or eating. It says, "I see you have decided to join us for breakfast, Ina."
Indeed. Thanks to Adros here. It looks like my knee's healing up all right. This is amazing food. Oh my goodness.
He kind of like nods his head and goes, "Yes. Well, I assume you've already given your thanks to Adros, and it would, I'm sure, please the cooks if you gave your thanks to them as well. They all work very hard."
I can only imagine with all these people here. There's so many people here.
Kind of looks around and says, "Yes, there are many families and tribes of people here. Many are my responsibility."
And she would just sort of tilt her head at him. She's trying to understand him and put together. She's just trying to understand him and really running into a brick wall with with him. Just not. She has a hard time believing that somebody with this much responsibility is just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. But there's no evidence that she can see otherwise, and it's fucking with her real bad. So that's where the head tilt comes from, and she just, are you responsible for everybody here? You said many of which are my responsibility. Does that mean there's others leaders, I suppose?
He kind of looks back to you and goes, "Yes, there are other leaders. There are others in the same position as I, although there is none who has quite the amount of responsibility as..." He kind of trails off a little bit and looks up, towards one of the cliffs nearby, like the hills. Is like the camp is kind of like laid out in like several hills and valleys of this like little area. You can see up on one of the hills there's like a tent that's sort of like shining in the sunlight now, as a Lemian.
Does Ina remember that Adros mentioned an Elemian river earlier?
Oh no, that's the Elmian.
Elemian?
No, it's a Lemian. Yeah. No, it's still spelled the same. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Not bad.
Is there a connection there? Well, does she remember? And then if she does, is there a connection there? She would ask.
Do remember, and you can ask if you want.
Elemian as in the Elemian River?
He kind of turns to look at you and says, "You could say that the Lemian and the Elemian River are one and the same."
Okay. There's much I don't understand. I'm sorry. It's a lot to take in.
He kind of holds out his hand and says, "Don't overexert yourself, Ina. You must first focus on recovering."
I don't want to just stay in bed. Is there anything I can do that's reasonable, I suppose, for this? And she would just gesture to her knee.
He kind of looks around and he kind of thinks for a second. Let's see, what would be good for a cripple? For a cripple.
I was thinking if there's any like player thoughts, like if there's any like prep, or if they're like cutting things up for lunch, or I don't know, because this is the first like service area that she's been to. That would sort of be the first thought she would have, is like, maybe I can help some of the cooks with something.
He kind of casts a glance at you and goes, "Perhaps you can help them clean."
I can do that.
He kind of like nods his head and says, "Very well. I will let them know. But after that, I must go. I must speak with the Lemian today."
Anything I should be worried about?
He kind of turns and looks back up towards the tent, and he kind of says this like half under his breath, half not quite, like kind of like saying it out loud. And he goes, "No, I don't think so yet."
All right.
I will not disturb you any longer. Enjoy the rest of your meal. And he heads towards the cooks as they're kind of like finishing up, like making like the last like big biryani. And you can see he like shares some words with them, and then he heads off towards the tent.
Yeah, I think Ina would have finished that so fast because it's the first like honest to goodness meal she's had in a while. Because even before the trial ended, she was incarcerated. So this is the first like good food she's had in a few weeks. And she would just also be looking at Jezebel eating this little thing. I feel like does she eat anything or?
Well, she's an omnivore.
All right.
She likes rats.
Rat!
Yes.
Yummy!
I think Anne would be like trying to say something, but her jaw just doesn't work anymore. She's just like, her jaw just drops a little bit. It's like, all right.
She'll sometimes enjoy her talents of mousing, or making sure no hairs or shrews get to any flour.
She sure is unique.
Wonderful.
Yeah, she's also like constantly purring as well. This is a note.
She's so happy.
Living it up.
Yeah, right? Oh, to be a cat.
Right, yeah.
A
bat, cat, bird.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys like to cut to a different side story here?
Yeah.
I think that was a good little intro, sort of like idea of what it's like in the camp.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yeah, Ina would just make her way over to the cooks and take direction, probably for the rest of the day, and bid farewell to Adros.
They just do a slight just like salute, and then put the flower petals back in the mask and head off to that sort of designated doctor's tent sort of thing from the other day. It's like people need help, they come to there while he's working on things.
Yeah, you've also got like your own work to do, Adros. You're busy throughout the day as well. So I'll offer this up as a choice for you guys if you'd like. So we've already covered a bit of the stuff we want to talk about. So let's I'll give you guys a choice. Either we get into a sort of long dialogue with Isaac, or you guys have your little Jezebel moment.
It'll take a couple of days for Ina to notice what's going on.
Yeah.
So I don't think that happens immediately. I think that might be a good like button.
Yeah, you guys. Throughout the days, you started to notice like a couple of like things go missing, but you've not really like tracked it down yet. But you're getting close to the idea. But before that happens, it's been a few days since you've been here now, and as you've been here as Ina, and you've clearly picked up that Isaac knows that you are using a fake name, as he's sort of. You're not really sure if it's vindictive or just the fact that he's making sure you know he knows, but that he knows you're using a fake name. Although, you still just can't quite get a read on him as, like, in general as a person. And there's still parts of him that you don't quite understand just in general. So,
yeah, she's suspicious of him as an authority figure, just inherently.
So how would you like to pursue this curiosity?
So it's been a few days. Are we going with the logs or cannon ? And if so, how long does it take her to wake up on day 4?
Okay. Actually, that might be a good way to kind of look at this.
It don't have to be. I'm just curious.
No, I like this idea. So also,
Okay.
while you've been here, you've been doing your own little studies on the side at night. Your efforts have been hampered a bit by some of your like items and tools kind of going missing here and there. But you've worked through it despite that. And you have been working on forming basically some like data on poisons.
Yeah, and I think this is something she has experience with because of her parents, specifically her mom, is the alchemist in the family. But the thing is, she used to have access to a very broad formula book where she could just go find the recipe, make the recipe, right? So she's trying to work from memory to moderate success.
Yeah, you're definitely like trying to like just like basically form your own data points for your testing here. In the first couple of nights of testing, you kind of get some mixed results. You get some good information on the stuff you'd been testing, or you had tested arsenic, and what was the other one you tested?
Spear frog poison and giant centipede venom. The spear frog poison from the first night doesn't work, which is why she reformulates it, but the giant centipede venom does.
And that was the last one you tested, correct?
Spear frog poison. The reformulated one on the second night was the one that got her.
Got it. Okay.
It's like if somebody says, "Oh, hey, my drink is weak," and your compensation is you pour 50-50 of just pure alcohol. She overcompensated.
Yeah, I imagine that in your, I guess, like haste and just trying to like possibly even like some amount of frustration of trying to get this, like trying to like get some valuable information here. I'm sure you've heard of maybe anecdotal like evidence that spear frog poison is quite potent if used correctly, but you're just not seeing the results you're finding. And I'm going to imagine that you think that part of the reason why is because of your dwarven blood is quite resistant to potentially some natural hazards. You are of a hardier kind of kin. And
it's not the first time she's tested poison on herself. This would have been shit she did as a teenager.
And so you make a rough estimation of how much you would need to ingest or to use to be able to actually get a result. And you overestimate that by a exponential amount.
Yeah.
And I'll say that you immediately realize your mistake after you've applied it, but it's too late, and it's sort of a runaway reaction. And you wind up unconscious. You have another fitful dream while you're unconscious, although this one is a much more toxic, corrosive land that you find yourself in. Sort of like a dark, miasma sort of pools at your feet. And you feel very sluggish as you're trying to push your way through it. And you're kind of struggling alone for a long time, and then you hear the sound of that bird call again in your dream.
You little bastard. Can I try to find it again? Try to see it again.
Yeah, make a perception check.
Okay. Don't add that. Leave that. Blind. Okay.
You catch a single glimpse of a bird flying overhead as it's sort of flies across the horizon line of this nightmare scape. And
do I recognize it?
I'm going to say no, you don't recognize it. Your perception check wasn't that high.
Okay.
But you do see the bird though. It's sort of like a dark silhouette that kind of outlines itself apart from the, just like the general atmosphere. And it flies across the horizon line, and where it touches the horizon line, you see a light. A bright, light blue light. And the light slowly gets brighter and brighter until you find yourself opening your eyes in your cot once again.
She would have muttered something about a bird. Like something like, this fucking bird, I swear to God. As she's waking up.
You hear the sounds of like glass vials and like paper shuffling on like the table that you have in your little tent. And you look over and you see Isaac standing over your desk, sort of like examining the various vials and doses of poison that you've been sort of dosing yourself with, and the logs that you have been keeping.
Her very detailed notes. There would definitely be an element of like waking up and going, "Can I help you?" But she also remembers passing out and that she did not pass out in her cot, so something moved her here. And I think she would look up and Isaac?
He sort of sets the papers that he was reading down back on your desk and turns to look over at you and kind of goes,
"What are you doing?"
Looks at you and says, I could ask you the same question, Ina.
Last thing I remember, I was at my desk. Fuck. You had to pick me up again, didn't you?
Just a single nod from his head. And
A little embarrassed.
he looks back at the paperwork and the vials and says, man, what would he say here? He goes, she kind of looks and goes, some very interesting research you are carrying out here.
Yeah, well, part of what I do is alchemical. And I don't exactly want to test on anything else. So I got me, myself, and I. And she'll sit up, kind of swing her legs over.
As you try to sit up, he puts his hand, like, not like on your chest, but like on your shoulder, and lays you back down in your cot.
I'm fine, Isaac.
If you stand up now, you will pass out again.
She'll sigh deeply and lean back down. I guess I won't fight you.
He just kind of...
Not that she could, but she would at least, comments that way.
After he, lays you back down, he retracts his hand and sort of like... you see he, rests it on the inside of his cloak. And he sort of leans over a little bit over you. And you see, his, the masked face of his visage is, kind of shadowed by, just the candlelight in the room being behind him. Kind of leers over you, kind of like a dark, almost dark, frightening, silhouette. And he looks over you and he says, I must ask you something, Ina.
By all means.
He kind of his voice kind of gets a bit tense as he asks you this. He says, you are not planning any dangerous intentions for anyone here in this camp, are you?
No, of course not. If I did, I would have been running tests on somebody else. No. that's a fully sincere reaction from Ina, because she didn't even think about the fact that it could be taken that way. Because to her, it's just research, right? She does have malintent for somebody not here, but it's generally non-specific to make her better in combat, and also to try to figure out what will work the best when the time does finally come to face Minister Thistleby again. But he doesn't know any of that, and it's for her, she's genuinely saying, like, no, nobody in this camp, certainly not.
He then, like, his sort of like tensity doesn't settle when he answers it, and then he says, "Then who is it for?"
And she'd go quiet for a second and look away.
He doesn't move an inch. He just kind of goes, "You can't tell me that either, can you?"
She looked back at him, very frustration coloring her face. I don't know why you need to know.
He finally, like, leans away, like, from over you, and sort of half turns towards the candlelight. And he sort of takes another half step towards your, like, work desk where all of your stuff is still piled up. You can see that, like, it's all been organized as well. Like, he had taken his time to, like, place all the things back where you had, like, originally had it. And he sort of pulls one of the vials and says, "You don't think I need to know? The fact that anyone might have this kind of poison in our midst is dangerous, even if you do not intend to use it on anyone here. If someone who does have malcontent amongst us were to get their hands on this, then who knows what could happen."
She'd sigh and look down and give a nod. I hadn't considered that.
He kind of, he's kind of like, not really shocked, but just sort of like, a little surprised at just like how defeated sounding you sound. And he places the vial back, and pulls like a chair and just sort of sits in it. Kind of like sits in it and like leans back in the chair a little bit, and just kind of sits there quietly.
She, after when he seemed settled back down, she would, kind of staring straight up at the top of the tent, not at anything in particular, just not wanting to look at him very specifically. She would start talking and she would just say, part of what I do with my weapons involves more than just ammunition. I make ammunition. I make unique ammunition, and it involves, I hope, if I can get the recipe right, poisons. Make me more effective in combat if we ever have to be there. But I'm used to having my own quarters. I'm not used to being in a place like this. And I've even had some stuff go missing, and I don't even know where it is. And I hadn't thought of it. I'm sorry. And she would turn her head to him when she says, "I'm sorry."
He was also like, you kind of like now notice he's also kind of like looking up, like not at you, but like looking up, like towards, like the top of the tent. And as you say that, he kind of looks back down at you. And he sort of says, it's one thing to bring this kind of danger amongst us. That I can forgive as misguided intentions. But this kind of like pulls the paper like your log again. This kind of behavior is dangerous to yourself.
She's going to be a little ignorant and just go, I'll make an antidote next time. Smaller doses. I'll be careful.
Next
and if
time.
you can give me, she really does. Yeah.
he completely cuts you off and goes, next time. So it is not enough for you to almost kill yourself once, even twice. We do it a third time, a fourth time. To what end?
Getting it right. And she's player knows that this is like a lack of value of her own life for Ina. But I don't know that Ina knows that yet. You know, I don't think she's really processed that. Because for her, it's scientific, and this is the only way to her forward. So the thought of going about this a different way hadn't even really occurred to her. And as far as she's concerned, she's not done. She hasn't gotten everything right for at least these three things that she's trying to work out. So yeah, she's confused in a way that she shouldn't be, admittedly, but she is confused.
He is now looking back at you. And I think he can easily recognize the confusion on your face, that you don't really know what you've done wrong here.
Yeah, because as far as she's like, I didn't do it to anybody else. I haven't, you know. And she's like, maybe I'll lock it up next time. Like, give me a safe, give me a little padlock. But the thought of not running another test had not occurred.
He kind of looks at you, and you're kind of like confused, and he lets that hang in the air for a minute, and he kind of like leans forward in his chair a bit. I've asked you this once for a different reason, and so I'll ask you this again. Are you doing this simply for boldness, or is it desperation?
And she'd look at him and then look down. Really thinking about it, really weighing it. And then she'd look back up at him. Maybe a little bit of both.
Let's see. He is going to roll a check here. It's going to be a blind roll, so you guys can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to show it on the screen for the stream.
Shucks, I can't go back and watch the VOD later.
Okay.
It's either really good or really bad, folks. It was one of the two.
He kind of he leans forward again towards you. And he kind of like quietly, so it's not like for anyone to not hear. He kind of says, just who is it that you desperately want dead?
Her jaw would clench. Because she immediately sees the face. She immediately hears the voice. And she's weighing whether or not she wants to share it. And actually, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's a fucking nat 20. I was rolling a personal will save to see, like, is that something that she would want to share with him?
Okay.
And I think she does. She'll say, there's somebody in Alkenstar. One of many somebodies, to be fair, but there's a main somebody who is the reason that I'm here. And not with my family. And not with my people. So yes, I want them dead. And if you want to know the name, Minister Alicia Thistleby.
He sort of slowly leans back, resting on the chair again. And he kind of places his hands in his lap, threading his fingers together. And you can see he kind of like taps his heel a bit on the ground. Your startling honesty is refreshing.
I never meant to be dishonest.
He kind of he looks off towards like the exit of the tent, like the tent flap,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "I must tell you this. The night that we had brought you back to the camp, I had a dream. I was visited in my dream by Lady Pharasma. Or at least something that took the visage of her.
The
And
goddess of death, right? No, right?
the Lady of
And-
Graves.
The Lady of Graves.
The one who will judge us all and send us to our respective places in the afterlife. I do not know if it was her, or if it was one of her many minions that dwell in the boneyard, but they visited me. They directed me to where you were. To where I could find you.
Why would anybody care enough to do that? That doesn't make sense. It's not that I don't believe you. I don't mean to... Sorry. It's more the fact of it than the question in what you're saying.
He kind of shrugs, and he says... he just kind of goes, I have always prayed for the safety of those who find themselves lost in the wasteland. Yet there are times when we cannot let the gods do all the work. And so as I was directed where you were to be found, I went there, and there you were. I could still smell the lingering scent of a monostorm in the area. It is something I closely associate with the stench of desperation. Yet, I believe you are correct. There is both boldness and desperation in you.
You know, for somebody who's not a priest, you sure sound like a priest. She means that. It's a complimentary tone that she says this with.
he scoffs. He goes, Look around you, Ina. Do you see a church for me to attend? Do you see a cemetery or a graveyard for me to maintain? I can no longer call myself a priest. I can barely call myself a Pharasmite.
See, I don't think that's true.
That is because...
Not that you're lying. I'm more saying that I don't think you need a location or anything specific to maintain. You maintain these people.
He holds out his hand and he kind of just says in a very matter-of-fact tone, "It is because you do not know the depths of my failures."
She just looks at him and tilts her head. Isn't that the whole point of faith? From what I hear? To help us deal with our failures?
He doesn't really answer you. He looks back towards you. Let's see here.
There's while the words are coming out of her mouth, Ina's definitely remembering what Tharia Vulaine said to her about that's where faith comes in. She's like, God damn it. Now this is coming into my head now too.
He kind of looks back at you and says, you had told me you were from Smokeside in Alkenstar.
That's right.
There was once a church there. A church of Pharasma, of course.
Mm-hmm.
It was the church that I called home for many years. You see, I am not originally from Alkenstar, though I did live there for some time. That church, as you may know yourself, is no longer there.
Would Anne have known about a Church of Pharasma in her lifetime in Smokeside?
Make a society check.
Okay. It's 12.
I would say that you don't this time you spent in Smokeside and Alkenstar, worship of the gods is not entirely it's not like there's no one who worships gods there, or there's no religion in Alkenstar. There are of course believers of various different faiths there, but it was not really a area of concern for you, as you dealt in more of the worldly values of life and dealt with the law and eked out or really meted out your own kind of law in a way, and got wrapped up in that. So you can't really say for sure that you have any idea of what kind of a church being in Smokeside. Although you do just from the thought of your mother and father, they had talked sometimes about the deities, and they might have mentioned Pharasma a couple of times to you, although you can't really draw any sort of information from that.
Yeah. I think Anne would. The other question is, would she be aware of what would make a church disappear? Because there's public disfavor in Alkenstar is clearly, based on her own experience, even an extreme thing, right? So if there was enough of a mob wanting a church gone, they could make that happen pretty easily. And obviously, if one of the ministers wanted to make it happen, they could make it happen even more easily. So I wonder I think for Anne, she'd be thinking how the hell does that even happen? And would start to think about that. Was it people in Smokeside that wanted it gone? Was it ministers? The answer doesn't really matter, but it's more just this person seems genuine. How the hell did this happen to him?
I would say like the most prominent justification you could think of is one that is somewhat of a sad truth of Alkenstar, that someone important wanted it gone or replaced with something else. Like they wanted the land that it was on, and you know, gave some phony reason to get rid of it.
Yeah, that tracks.
And
shit!
As you kind of like think about that, like as soon as a thought kind of comes to your mind, Isaac continues on saying, "I believe what stands there now is a warehouse that holds many of the various goods that the factories there produce."
I'm sorry that happened.
And he shakes his head and says, "You do not need to apologize."
I love my home. I hate what's corrupted it as deeply as it has. Things like that. It's part of what I want to fix.
I know you've told me that you wanted to like get a like new set of clothes to like get Anne out of like the shield marshal kind of get up.
Yeah.
Is she still wearing her shield marshal clothes, or is she sort of changed out now?
A few days in, she would have changed out. I'm pretty sure like day 3, she would have talked to enough people to be like, "Hey, is there anything I can do?" And I think there's enough disdain for the enforcement of laws that are clearly unfair at this point that if she hasn't done it already, she will melt down her badge.
Yeah, I know you said you had filed the symbol off of it.
Yeah, she filed the symbol off of her armor. But I think during testing, right, she would just be in her civilian clothes.
I'm just gonna kind of say this happens just because I think it'd be cool and dramatic. But stop me if you don't want to happen. He's
I'm in.
like on the table or like somewhere nearby. He kind of like raises his hand and lifts, and you hear the sound of like something metal sliding on the table, and he holds up the badge that you have filed off like the insignia on. And he kind of looks at it and looks over to you and says, "And so you intend to mete out your own kind of justice, then?"
I'm still figuring that out, Isaac. I don't know. I know that I want somebody dead, but killing one person, there's just going to be another that comes along. It's probably just as corrupt as the last. Longer term solutions require more thought than I've been able to really give it these past few days. So I am angry at a system that enforces laws that can be bent to the wind as easy as an exchange of coin. And I was sometimes the person that was exchanged coin with to make the law bend. I'm not innocent in this, but if I love my home and I want to fix it, it's got to be more core of a change. And I'm an exiled shield marshal. I have no power to make that happen. And I don't know what to do about that. So I file symbols off of stuff. I poison myself. I do things that are angry. But I'm trying to figure something out that, I don't know, maybe could help. I have no idea.
He sets the badge back down on the desk, and he kind of like leans forward again, kind of like clasps his hands together. And he kind of just starts talking. He goes, "This camp is full of the kinds of broken people that have similar problems. Homes they can no longer go to. Problems that are much larger than themselves. But I remember a saying in Alkenstar, whenever I still dwelled there, that a broken clock is right twice a day."
She'd smile and nod.
Yeah, which, he goes, which was, which is to basically mean that even something that can be broken or seemingly useless can still be correct sometimes. Or do something right, at least sometimes. But if a broken clock can manage that, imagine what a broken person can do. You are more. He kind of like. He kind of continues on. He goes, "You are more than just a former law enforcer. You have a family. I'm sure you are a daughter to a mother and a father who are kind to you. There is love. There is kindness. There is courage. If there is anything that I have learned from being a broken person, it's that breaking other things is never going to fix you. And he stands up and he starts to walk toward the tent flap. So, Ina, I'm not going to tell you what to do. You are free to go whenever you'd like. If tomorrow you wish to leave this camp and pursue your dreams of revenge, to kill all who have wronged you, to break everything you can, then by all means. But if you'd like to become something better, instead of breaking something, making more broken people, if you'd like to fix things, then I would consider giving kindness a chance.
Kindness is never kindness without selfish reasons. Even if the selfish reason is just to feel good at the end of the day or save your soul, there's always something behind it. But I'll think about it.
He kind of he doesn't really say much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of nods his head again, and then heads out of the tent.
Before he does.
Yeah, he stops as he lifts the tent.
I still ask that you call me Ina, because I don't know what it means for my old name to live on. But my name is Anne.
He just lets the tent flap fall behind him as he heads out into the night.
giving her a lot to think about. Yeah, that's gonna be a whoo. It's gonna be a long night. Interesting about the Pharasma piece. Okay.
Now, is there any? I know that you had that little scene, and now that was
No, that's perfect.
neatly ended in a way that you'd like. But I know there's some other things you'd like to ask Isaac. A couple of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I just think throughout, whenever she runs into him, she would just say, the fact that he said that she could leave at any time tells her that she's going to need to be the one to figure out when she thinks she's done paying him back. So she'll file that away and think about it. She wants to know why he and anybody else who does this, so she would have recently become aware of Elemian. She wants to know why they created the Manymen. Why do they do this? This is such effort, and there's a lot of power to having a lot of people gathered this way. But it doesn't seem like power is the point. So why? Would be something that she would ask.
He gives you a very concise answer to the question. Like, doesn't really go into detail. Just says,
Mm-hmm.
because if no one else did, then all of these people would be dead.
And she would accept that. I think there's a she would accept that. It would give her something to think about, because it's like, why should you care if all these people are dead? But the conversation from the night prior would revisit her frequently. Let's see. I think that's the extent of most of what she would want to talk about. Like, it's eventually the transactional nature of life would come up at some point, and she would argue that highlighting the transactional nature of life is not bad, because if you don't, you're either taking advantage of someone or you're being taken advantage of. But I don't think she would stick on that point too much. There's definitely the part of that conversation with Isaac that has hit Anne hard in a way that she wasn't quite ready for. And I think that her interactions with Isaac for the rest of the week would be somewhat colored by that. She's still very much deep in thought about everything he said.
What about the bird?
She would bring up the bird at some point, but yeah, I think if they came across a meal or something, like, you said that you have dreams, Isaac, that are sometimes inspired. What does a bird mean in a dream?
He just, whatever he was doing, he just stops and looks up at you.
Mm-hmm.
And he just says, "What kind of bird?"
First thing she says is loud, but hold on, let me see if I can remember. She'll describe, because in the first dream she didn't see it. It had a certain sound, and she'd try to make the best approximation of the sound as she could. She'd whistle the sound.
Before you even start to whistle,
Mm-hmm.
you start to hear whistling. You start to hear the...
Mm-hmm. That kind of bird. That was the one.
Yeah. You quickly realize that the whistling was coming from Isaac. As he he just nods his head, and he just says, "That is a nightjar, a whippoorwill."
Huh.
Yeah.
I heard it twice. I heard it before I woke up here, and I heard it. It didn't stop. It was the whole time before I woke up the first time, and then were you just whistling the whole time when we were? She's like she's furrowing her brow a little bit and like
he shakes his head and says, "I do not whistle often, but
fair enough.
I believe that the nightjar in your dreams might have been perhaps a manifestation of my presence. I have been told many times, in fact, that the people I have taken care of have heard the same call in their dream."
Nah, if that don't make you a priest, I don't know what does. Come on, Isaac.
He just kind of like sits straight up in his chair and says, "I don't know what that has to do with priestliness."
It's spiritual as fuck.
And he just kind of like, he just like unflinching looks at you. "Perhaps to a caveman."
Thank you. And I think I hope it would be obvious that she's making a joke at that point. I don't know. All right.
He doesn't seem to react any further as he kind of turns his attention back to whatever he was doing before.
Yeah, she'll just sort of tip her hat and leave and go to whatever job she's at. Probably at that point, not needing to walk with her gun anymore. And moving on toward at this point, she's been welcoming caravans and helping people unpack or pack, depending. The guidance, Isaac, the second day in, when Adros came and had breakfast with Anne, he said he needed to talk to a Lemian. Would there have been some kind of directive that went out to the camp at that point after they had their conversation to prepare to pick up and leave, basically?
Yeah. Basically, word was getting out through the camp that like there was going to be a few more caravans coming in, but to not set up any more permanent dwellings, but to get ready to start being ready to pick up and leave at any point.
Was there any explanation as to why given?
The only explanation was simply because they needed to go to Quantium.
Okay.
They're preparing to head to Quantium.
For people who have made their lives out in the wastes, is heading to a city, like, would there be trepidation? I'm sure it varies person to person, but would there be any sense of trepidation that's sort of common among multiple people that Anne would pick up on?
Yes, in fact. Why don't you give me a diplomacy check to kind of like gather some info from like the people around.
Okay.
You do notice there is like some trepidation and some like some like similar emotions like that going along the camp. But what I'll say mostly you're picking up that's notable to you is that there's a lot of confusion. A lot of the families and tribes and groups of people here are not sure exactly why everyone is going to Quantium. But as to, like knowing why that might be, that kind of evades you, as you've not been able to ask Isaac and he's never brought it up. And no one that you've ever talked to has really got like any kind of inkling. But I will say that generally there's a lot of confusion, but most of the people here trust that Isaac and Elemian know what they're doing and that they have the camp's interests at heart. So that they're all happy to go along with it.
How well guarded is Isaac's tent?
It's like almost not guarded at all. Like he's got like one guy that kind of comes and checks in on him every once in a while.
I think it would start off fairly innocently, of her talking to herself going, Maybe I can just ask him. Maybe I'll just go to his tent and ask him why, what's going on. And if she gets there and he's not there, so I think that would be my question to you: is he there when she goes? I'd imagine it would be around dinner time ish, because it would be whenever she's wrapping up stuff for the day, work wise, but before getting into the evening, like gun cleaning and alchemy work.
You don't really see him around, no. You imagine he might actually be like on his rounds throughout the camp.
Okay. She peeks her head into the tent flap to see if there's like if there's a desk and if there are any papers on it or anything that she can like gauge.
You see there is a desk, with like some papers on it. There's also several books that are like kind of stacked up, on a small bookshelf that he has like made on his desk.
Mm-hmm. Is there can she see if any of the papers that are exposed without having to go in or rifle through anything? Is there anything that might give her a hint as to the reason?
Let's see. Probably the exposed papers you see are mostly like lists and inventories of like various like like rations of food and the amount of like items they have on hand, like medicine and like things like important things that he would want to track.
Mm-hmm.
Basically as like a steward of the caravan's like stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And you see another one, which is a written report that seems to be written in like kind of like a cruder hand by someone else, who was like describing road conditions of the Road of Blood.
Mm. She would sigh, like kind of a damn it, coming through her head. Hold on. It's 12. She will go in and investigate further.
Okay.
It's personal will save, just to see like it's just like how she can make a good choice here or a bad choice here.
Morality check.
yeah, basically. And she does not hit that DC.
Okay. You kind of like sort through some of the papers. You see a couple of other papers that look like correspondence from like various like people from Quantium and Onipian.
Mm.
The one from Quantium is basically describing like the amount of like a land and like potable water and stuff like that are outside of Quantium, like describing that basically like the Elimian River to the north, the closest portion of the Elimian River is not polluted, or the closest portion is polluted quite a bit, but much further north from the Elimian River there is lots of like actual potable water that's not been polluted because it runs off from like the northern part of the Nadeli Gap, from the mountains up there. So that water isn't polluted by Quantium or Onipian, where Quantium absolutely abhorrently pollutes the Miasmir and like the closest part of the Elimian River, and Onipian and Echonis both pollute the Eustrati River. But the Elimian is largely untouched, and so the water up there is clean and usable.
Gotcha.
So there's lots of like information about that, and just like the land surveys outside of Quantium. And the one from Onipian is strange. It's written in like kind of like a broken, like fragmented way. And I'm going to say that you can kind of like just kind of like your days as being a shield marshal, you can tell this is some kind of like like encoded message.
Ooh. Can I try to decode it?
You don't have the cipher, so you cannot.
Fuck.
This is one that's like it's kind of like a cipher, and you can't really figure it out. And also, you don't really have a whole lot of time. So
Yeah, for sure.
I'll say you know that there's an encoded message from Onypian to the camp. You're not sure what exactly it's about, but you do see the name that is addressed from there. Give me 1 second. Pull up this sheet real quick. You see the name is just a simple first name, Yasmin. Yasmin, that is Yasmine.
Perfect. She definitely like considers looking around and seeing what the like if there's parchment available to like try to copy the message down, but decides against that because it's such a bad idea. So she tries to put everything back the way that it was and get out unseen. Ideally, she'd kind of peek her head out of the tent and
I'll say
do her best to escape.
One thing that catches your eye as you're leaving is some of the books that Isaac keeps here. One of them is a book. 1 second.
From Onypian, that's right.
Let me find this real quick. There is a. Right. So there is a book there that is titled Ruminations of the Windsong Testaments. And there is another book there that is titled. It's kind of like a thinner book, but it's kind of like old and tattered looking. It is sort of titled as you kind of pull it out because it's not on the spine. You pull out and it says positive energy. Positive energy. The undoing of the undead.
Ooh. Okay. Would Anne understand that that's... I don't know if she would. Would Anne understand that that could be related to something associated with aggression against the southern neighbors?
I would say... Okay, well, you're not trained in it, but make a religion check.
Okay.
Make a religion check.
Yeah. Religion. Oh, yay.
You can beat a 15. I'll give you some info. Oh my god.
I rolled a 19. Let's go.
Like there's not a whole lot you know about like Pharasma or Pharasmites or the like how like the following of Pharasma or anything like that. The Lady of Graves. Though there is one thing that you remember distinctly because it was something that was kind of just important to know, just because of your guys' like sharing a border with Geb, the Nation of the Dead. Is that Geb does not welcome any followers of Pharasma because Pharasmites are sort of divinely ordered by the dogma of Pharasma that all undead must be destroyed.
Oof. Yeah, that'd be bad for Geb. I get that. That's reasonable.
Pharasma particularly this is just flavor just for everyone here, because Pharasma particularly has a vendetta against what's her name? The goddess of the undead. Oh shit, what is her name?
You fuck it.
What is her name? God damn it.
Pathfinder.
Urgathoa, that's what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she has a strong vendetta against Urgathoa, who was the first soul to ever escape from the Spire, which is like the structure that Pharasma sort of dwells inside of her own domain that she calls the Boneyard.
Gotcha.
So Urgathoa was the first to spurn Pharasma's judgment and basically continued to live despite having died.
Got it.
And obviously Urgathoa is well venerated in the land of the dead. And so Urgathoans and Pharasmites, they don't mix.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Are there any other books of note?
Nothing very interesting to you. Mostly just like books about, I don't know, just like various like policies and histories of like necks that are not like super interesting. It's not like something very prescient to you that you would like take an interest in. It's like various like studies of like the nature studies of necks, or various like other like very scientific informative texts about various topics, but the ones about Pharasma jump out to you.
Okay. Yeah, she would definitely note that in her mind, and again try to arrange everything exactly as it was, and then attempt to leave.
Yep. You leave with no problem at all. No one really stops you or catches you or anything like that.
And I don't think anybody saw me.
Probably not. You don't know.
Fair enough. Okay. Interesting. She's gonna go find Adros.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
You head towards Adros's tent, and once again, as you enter the tent, you don't really see anybody there, except at least you thought there was nobody there until you hear, well, a similar voice that you've heard a few times now.
Ring!
Hi, Jezebel.
And Jezebel sort of like hangs above you, looking down at you, from like sort of like a crossbar from like the tent flap, and you can see holding in her paw a round, shiny metal object. It looks like shot. And
What you got? What you got there, Jezebel?
she just like holds it in one of her paws, and she kind of like rubs it between both her paws as she's hanging upside down, and she starts to like nip at it with her beak, and she kind of looks back at you and go,
Shiny!
and she kind of like flips off of the bar and like kind of glides down towards towards like Adros's cot, which is probably like, a lot of like stuff like piled around, and you can see she like flips open like a flap on a pack there next to his bed, and you can see there is like about like 6 or 7 like of 6 or 7 like shot that you have, like your shot like piled there, along with a couple of like your vials with like sort of like shining silver like liquid or metal in there, as well as like a couple of like other various like dull or shiny metal objects like hair clips or bangles or like even just like rocks that are like bright and like smooth from the sand.
I love that so
And
much.
she places your shot in the bag and flips it back, and then she kind of like does a little dance on top of the pack.
Is that your stash of goodies?
Shiny.
Uh-huh. All right.
And around this time, Adros, you show up.
I presume it's like as Adros enters the tent. Oh, hello, Ina. Is something wrong?
Hi, Adros. No, I was looking for you, but I just solved a long-standing problem for the past few days.
Oh, what was the issue?
Jezebel like sort of skitters across the floor towards you, Adros, and clambers up your leg, up your arm, and you can see she's gripping something in her hand. It's a syringe that you have been looking for.
Jezebel, I thought I told you to stop. Yeah. As he will like pluck it from her fingers.
So you deal with this too, I take it.
I thought I trained her out of it.
Oh. And she would just kind of like, she would nod to Jezebel, say, "Sorry, Jezebel," and she would open the flap. Might be some other stuff in here you're looking for.
Adros will like gently take off his glasses and then just pinch the bridge of his nose.
Jezebel kind of like lovingly nips at your ear, Adros, and just goes, "Shiny."
Jezebel, we went over this. Not all shinies are your shiny. You should not randomly take them.
She kind of like, like cocks her head a couple of times and like ruffles her feathers and like kind of like scratches at herself with her paws, and then she just goes, "What?"
Those. Imagine if someone else took a piece of food you were eating. You would not be very happy. While they do not eat those shinies, it is the same equivalent.
What?
That is their thing. Don't take them.
I tell you what, Jezebel, I got something for you. I'll be right back, Adros. And she'll run back to her tent, and she'll grab the. We didn't necessarily RP this, but I did want to melt down the badge.
Okay.
And I think she had it melted down just into like a little like shape, like a pin. And birds have been on her mind recently, so we'll say we melted it into a bird. And she'll take the what once was her badge and run it back to Adros's tent.
Okay.
And she'll go, "Jezebel,
What?
some of what you got in your shinies, I need. But I know you like them, so can I trade you?"
Her eye like one of her eyes immediately just like locks on to the shiny badge, like the shiny like pin you have in your hand.
She'll hold it up, and it is very shiny. It's very polished. It's very brassy.
She kind of like flaps her wings a little bit and ruffles her feathers. Shiny.
Mm-hmm. Can I give you this shiny for about 4 or 5 of these in your pack? She's specifically looking at like the vials that she needs. She'll leave a couple of bits of shot for for Jezebel, but the alchemical one she wants to take back.
She climbs down from her perch on Adros towards the pack, and like with her beak kind of like picks up the shot and like tosses it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then she kind of like sits on her hind legs as she like kind of gestures at you with like her paw.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you so much. Can I have this one too? And she'd point at the vial.
She picks it up with her beak and like kind of holds it out, And as you like try to grab it, she kind of like fights you a little bit.
Please.
She lets go.
Thank you. And she'll pass her the bird, little brass bird.
Yeah, she takes the bird, and she fusses for a little while, trying to find the perfect place to put it in her little stash.
It's so cute. Thank you, Jezebel.
Tiny.
Well, Adros, I don't know how well that training is sticking, but she seems
I
happy.
fear I spoiled it too much.
It's
As like
all right.
Idris will like put the glasses back on. Just...
Do I catch do I catch anything about Adros's eyes while the glasses are off?
I mean, well, at least some that are relatively obvious, since this is a very dark tent pretty much all the time. Tapetum lucium, that sort of reflectiveness that cat eyes have in the dark. That is very clear with Adros.
Ooh. Okay.
Other than that, I don't know. Ask Scrub, because like a bright flash in the dark, that one's somewhat obvious, but the rest,
Yeah.
the heterochromia and such.
Yeah, you might notice. I'll say at the most, you'll at least notice that his eyes look strikingly different than most other like sets of eyes you've seen. So you notice that there's something odd going on with Adros, at least like with his appearance, but it's nothing like that sends any alarm bells or anything like that off for you.
Yeah. Especially at this point, now she's been around this very diverse group of people for several days and has acclimated. So I think she notes it, but it's not something that she's going to like push him about in any way.
Yeah, it's just like it's a drop in the bucket with like another interesting feature of a person that you've met. So.
Yeah.
Weird Eyes is probably pretty low on the ranking of made his pet.
Yeah. I think Jezebel takes that particular cake.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Is there anything else you guys want to cover before we wrap up?
Adros, Crow, I'm mostly like gesturing to you with this because
I'm truly the only thing would be Adros probably just like, quietly going around the camp whenever Jezebel is sleeping and trying to give people back their like bits of jewelry or hairpins. It's like, I'm very sorry, Jezebel.
You start operating a bit of a lost and found by accident as you start like giving people's belongings back. And you do meet like a lot of like thankful people who were like, "Oh, thank goodness, this is like something that our family has that we've been like missing for a while. It's important to us." Or like, "Oh, that," but ranging from that to like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter. That wasn't that big of a deal. I've got like 2 or 3 or more of these, but I thank you anyway. I'll take it back." And then there's also people who are like, "Oh, your little pet did this. Oh, that's so sweet. I'm gonna make her something."
Aww.
So
I love that.
A wide range of reactions to your to the antics of Jezebel. Yeah.
Awesome.
And then after some time passes, a caravan with a mysterious bunch of strange individuals show up. And you guys are given your first task by Isaac to load up in a caravan and lead the exodus towards Quantium.
Yes.
Yippee.
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
We'll find out how that goes in a little over a month.
Yes, as of this recording, today is July 27th.
August 27th already.
No.
I was like, what? I wish.
The next scheduled game for Return of the Arclord is September 6th. So whenever that rolls around, we'll get to see what their first task is. But thankfully, a little sooner than that, August 9th, Wrath of the Ghost King will be having Session 4. Yeah. Very
excited for that, too.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, guys.
Thank you for running, Scrub. Appreciate
yeah.
it.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, Crow, as well.
Thank you guys for coming up with the ideas for this and for just playing it out. It was a lot of fun.
This was a blast.
Fun. Great time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I hope more of the group can do things like this as the inspiration strikes, because it's great that you're willing to, and it opens up a lot of fun doors.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping the others kind of take the opportunity as well to try to flesh out more of these like domestic, between the scenes, like kind of
downtime moments.
Yeah.
They're so formative for the way that stories play out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I'll at least be encouraging it. Whenever I know there's like significant downtime for you guys to do something, or maybe something interesting comes up that I might want to explore, I'll kind of point out to you guys as we go on.
Nice.
But of
Sounds
course, as always, at will, if you guys want to do anything like this again, and you have a good idea for something like this that would go on for like at least like a couple hours or like an hour or two, then let me know, and we'll organize another one.
Sounds
Got it,
good.
boss man.
But with that is the end of session 2.5.
1.7. We decided on.
1.7/2.5.
Somewhere in there.
Episode name is called
Range.
Life Among the Manymen.
Ooh, good one.
Fun.
So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you too for hanging out, and thank you to the people who
Thank you for running.
from the other games who are kind of coming in and listening. And we will see you all next time. I'll be uploading this soonish, hopefully. I gotta get a thumbnail for it, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Bye, everyone at home. Bye-bye.
Be safe, people. Thank you.
Welcome. Bye, everyone at home. Bye-bye.
Be safe.